Hello and welcome. Today we're taking a look at this, my 300 Blackout Mark 18 / CQBR. So this is definitely not clone correct, but it was a fun build that I've been kind of kicking around for a couple of years. And there are a few important things to note if you want to embark on something similar. It's not as special as I think it once was, because I think PSA offers a pretty similar factory option. But one of the key things going on here is the gas system. So we'll take a look at exactly how this works with it being a 300 Blackout, but still having this front sight block out here like a normal carbine length gas system. And then also we'll just go over everything else we've got going on and break it down. So starting with the gas system, because it's a 300 Blackout, it actually uses a pistol length gas system, which means that you have to have a gas block essentially hidden underneath the handguard. Now, I used just a kind of super generic low profile gas block, and that actually worked really well. But as you can see here, the gas block itself is tucked underneath the handguard, and it actually fits underneath the quad rail, a garbage tier quad rail, fat polymer handguards, and skinny polymer handguards, all without issue and without modification to the handguards. And then I've got this A2 front sight block just pinned out on the barrel. Now the key to that is your gas block journal is going to be 0.750 at the gas port, and you need the barrel to be untapered all the way out to the end of the barrel. A lot of 300 Blackout, they want to either literally taper it or there'll be a step down in the profile. But in order to pin this front sight block out here, it needs to also be 0.750 underneath it, which means you need to be consistent essentially to the end of the barrel. This particular barrel, I think, was the Midway in-house brand, like the AR Stoner, whatever cheap I could find. And it's actually stainless, and I've spray painted it a couple of times. But it was the only one at the time that I could find that was the right profile, and it's worked well for me. But I'm sure there are other options, but you'll just have to find one that has a consistent profile without any taper or step downs, from the gas block basically to the end of the barrel. Beyond that, the other thing I did is actually pinned a gas tube section. Like I took a used gas tube and I just cut off a few inches of it, and I put it into this gas block as though it were the actual gas block that we were using. But I did that so that the handguard retainer would actually stay in place, because especially with the polymer handguards, it tended to sort of want to wander, and with that gas tube section in place, it helps keep it aligned and just make sure that it looks a bit more correct. Beyond that, it's actually pretty straightforward. Most of the rest of it is just kind of regular AR stuff. So first off, a 5/8 by 24 A2 style flash hider. These are pretty common. They're certainly out there. That is the easiest, cheapest, simplest way to go. Moving back, I retained the bayonet lug. I guess early carbines, they would have cut the bayonet lug off, but it seems for a lot of the Mark 18s, they left the bayonet lug on, because why not? But this is the actual carbine I used for building the cutoff bayonet. So I've got that guy here. Let me grab that. So if you didn't see that, it's a bit of an older video of mine, but you can see it here. So I actually took the Smith & Wesson M7 style bayonet, cut the handle, and moved the pommel down while retaining the latching piece so that it would just barely fit onto exactly this length. So from the bayonet lug to the end of the muzzle is essentially flush, but we have there a bayonet on a Mark 18, which I think is super fun and exactly the kind of thing that I enjoy. Behind that, just a regular A2 style F-marked front sight block and a handguard retainer. The sling swivel, I think, is actually one of those things that is technically not supposed to be here for it to be more clone correct, but that is a-okay. This is a surplus P&S, I think, RAS rail, and then I've got various rail covers thrown on there that is just there to make it a bit more comfortable, and then a P&S broom handle style vertical grip. I also have the CQD sling hook attachment there on the rail. There's random parts that I was like, I gotta have like the right one and make it more clone correct, like specifically the rail and the sling attachments, but other things I'm just like, totally gonna phone it in, like the knockoff aim point here. This is the Primary Arms tube style classic red dot, which I think they discontinued. I'm pretty sure I bought this when they were like blowing them out and for like less than $100. And I'm really sad that those are no longer available, because like it works really well and I'm not paying $400 for a used beat up aim point, and for a fun range toy and just like, hey look, it's cool type of gun, it fits the bill perfectly. Behind that, we have a cutoff carry handle, because that's fun. Further back, we have the CQD rear plate with the sling hook attachments, and then the B5 SOP mod stock. At the time, they didn't have the clone correct version of the stock as readily available as they do now. So it's got the sling QD cups here. So that's the commercial version of the stock, but it's one of those, it's good enough. Which, speaking of which, this thing is never gonna be clone correct. There's a lot on here that's not, and At the time, I didn't want another 10.5-inch 5.56 carbine, and I didn't have a 300 Blackout, so I figured, hey, why not just build one of those instead? Turning it over, we have one of the more interesting pieces. So because this is a 300 Blackout barrel, the markings are on the barrel, but they're actually buried underneath the front sight block, which means they're kind of hard to read. And so just to be overly clear, I went ahead and added a 300 Blackout marked dust cover. I forget exactly who makes this. It's one of the only ones I could find where it's marked on the inside of the dust cover, and that was very specific. I didn't want it on the outside. I wanted it on the inside so that it would still be there, still be visible, readily accessible, but it wouldn't be just blatantly obvious on the outside. You know, I wanted it to still look the way an original style Mark 18 or CQBR did. The rest of it is just Mixmaster AR parts kit that I had, whatever cheap bolt I happened to buy. None of the rest of that is clone correct whatsoever, but it's good enough and it works, and you can't tell. You want to be? Oh, there you go. Okay. Beyond that, the lower itself is humorously enough an Anderson, like poverty pony lower that I SBR'd, and I think that is just perfectly on brand for everything else I've got going on here, so we're gonna keep it. There's certainly more clone correct lowers that I could get, but it's sort of here. There's a cost to undoing that, and I have other nonsense that I'd rather spend money on, so Anderson it is. I think it's a fun alternative build, and I enjoy it a lot. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time.